morning or good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. And welcome to the virtual Greater Boston Church of Spiritualism on this beautiful Sunday morning or whatever day you're watching. That's the beauty of it being on video. But please join me in our opening prayer. Infinite Spirit, beloved God, we welcome you into our sacred space that is within and around us. We open our hearts, we open our minds to your presence, to your light, and to your love. We ask your blessings as we gather. Help us to remember who we are as a part of you. Help us to move forward on our journey as love, as light, as peace. We ask that you bring to us our loved ones today so that we may truly understand and know that life and love continues into eternity, that we are all eternal beings, all connected, all a part of you. We give thanks for this knowledge as we say, Amen. And now an inspirational reading from a hymnal called Windows to Your Soul. Spiritualism teaches a broad philosophy. It has been said by one of the teachers of old, let there be many windows to your soul. One pane cannot catch the thousands of scintillating truths that radiate from the kingdom of God. Lift the blinds of superstition. Let the soul open wide the windows through which the truth may enter. Attune your ear to the wordless music of the spheres, and your heart, like a flower seeking the sun, will reach out for truth, and a million unseen hands will reach down to help you up to peace-crowned heights. The glory of the firmament will sustain you. And now we will have a healing prayer, and the words will appear on the screen below. If you would please join me and open your heart as we pray. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstruction from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help, and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust and the love in the power of God. And now we'll have a healing meditation, a time we can let go of the busyness, the stress, the strains of life, and just be present with that divine force that is a part of us and that is all around us. So just get comfortable wherever you are. Remove anything you may be holding so that you can thoroughly relax. Just close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath, breathing in, breathing out, focusing on that breath and allowing that breath to relax you, to soothe you, to comfort you. Breathing in, imagine a beautiful light flowing in, that light of God that is never apart from you. And feel that light moving into the very core of your being, awakening that light that is deep inside. And as you breathe out, release the stress, release the worries, release the fears. Let everything else go and just be present in this sacred moment of now with this beautiful light that flows into you and through you. And continuing to breathe in more and more light, breathing out and releasing and relaxing. Allow that light to gently flow through your bloodstream, reaching into every cell, bringing to every cell what it needs to restore and renew itself so that it may work together with every other cell, creating health, creating harmony, creating well-being. Feel every muscle taking in that light as they relax, every nerve being returned to its natural state of ease, every bone filling with the strength and the power of this light. Just feel this light gently flowing from the top of your head all the way down to the tip of your toes, knowing it fills every organ, every system, every particle of that physical body, bringing to that body what it needs to be strong, to be healthy. And as this light flows through our body, we send our love into our bodies as well, For our bodies are the vehicles that make our journey on earth possible. And it's up to us to feed them, to care for them, to love them. So send your love with that divine light through your body so that it may be strong, so that it may create and recreate itself in perfection and in harmony. And as our body continues to take in this healing light and relax, feel that light gently moving through your mind, quieting that busy mind, allowing all those busy thoughts to flow away. Just imagine a beautiful, peaceful river flowing through your mind, gently carrying those thoughts away. And as that river flows through your mind, allow any negative thought, any less than thought, any worry thought, any fearful thought to flow down that river where it may be transformed into something positive. Now as that river flows through your mind, just feel the light of God flowing into your mind, opening and expanding your mind with higher thought, lifting you into that higher mind, where you know that all is well, where you know that you are a part of God, where you know that you are loved beyond measure. And allow that light to illuminate your mind, to fill every thought with positivity and love, so that you may know that we're all connected. We are all a part of God. We are all made from love and light, and that light is there for you in every moment with inspiration, with wisdom, with guidance, as you allow it to flow in and you let go of that lower mind, those less than and negative thoughts. And as your mind expands and opens and lifts into a higher vibration, feel that light gently washing through your emotional body, cleansing and clearing away the pains and hurts of yesterday. The angers, the resentment, the bitterness, anything that you've held on to that has stopped you from loving. Feel that pure, unconditional love of God washing through you, cleansing and clearing and freeing you to be the being of love and light that you were created to be. Just feel that pure light of God moving through every part of you, traveling to the deepest part of your core and radiating out through your auric field until you know yourself as that beautiful spirit of God you were created to be. Just breathe and be that wonderful soul and feel yourself lifting into a place of love. And imagine yourself walking along your journey of life, climbing a majestic mountain, following the path that life brings to you. And as you reach the center of this mountain, you see a beautiful cave, and it's flowing with light. The light is just pouring out of that cave, beckoning you and calling you to take a break, to step into that light for a moment and receive what you need to continue on your journey. And as you follow that light, you find yourself in a beautiful cavern filled with light, and you feel the most profound peace that you have ever felt. It's so deep, so strong that it permeates your entire being. And in this peace you know that all is well, that all is perfect, that everything works in harmony with everything else. Just sit in this peace and allow it to fill you. Become a part of that peace so that you can carry that peace on your journey of life. And as you fill with that peace, you feel yourself being lifted right up through the center of the mountain to the very top, where you can stand in the light of God's love. You can allow it to fill you, to radiate from you. For it is in this place you can look out upon the world and out upon your life and see that everything works together, that everything has a purpose, And as you stand in this radiant light, you feel your heart opening and expanding, and you feel that light flowing out from you into the world, into your life. And you radiate this healing power to all that you love, to all beings on the planet, knowing that we are all connected. As you focus this light upon your world, we ask that this healing power fill our globe, reaching every heart, every mind, every spirit, every part of creation, so that we are all existing in the healing light and love of God, together in harmony and in peace. Feel yourself radiating that peace into your world, into your life, so that you may live from this place of peace, doing your part to create a world at harmony and at peace. Hold this vision as you stand, seeing through the eyes of God the beauty of our world, seeing through the eyes of love the magnificence of all creation. And hold this magnificence and this vision in your heart, so that you may carry it with you wherever you go, remembering that we are all magnificent spirits of God. We are all made from love and light, and we're here to help one another, to lift one another, so that we may create a beautiful world. Take a nice deep breath as you feel this peace and love and light filling every part of you. Know that your loved ones, your angels, your guides are all around you, helping you to be what you were created to be, filling you with love and support. Feel that support around you as you sit in this light of God. And know that that support is always there for you, just as the light of God is. That you carry it within you, and it surrounds you, for it is a part of all creation. Just take a nice deep breath and know that you have all that you need within you to continue to climb that mountain of life, to face the challenges, to find the blessings, and to be triumphant in creating a beautiful world for you and everyone around you. Just as you breathe, feel yourself gently moving back to your life, back to this room, knowing you are all walking the path together of evolution and of love. Feeling yourself grounding back to the here and now, feeling the clothes upon your body and the seat beneath you. Take a nice deep breath, and as you open your eyes, smile. And remember, we're all part of each other. We're all in this together. So let us love one another and celebrate life. And now, if you'll join me in reading our principles, which will appear in spiritualism, we have no rules or regulations, nor dogmas or creeds, but we do have a set of principles that help us to live our lives in the best possible way. So please read them with me. We believe in infinite spirit and that God is infinite spirit. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite spirit. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of an individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact, scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule, whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of the individual and that they make their own happiness or unhappiness as they obey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter, and we affirm the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in the Bible are divine attributes proven through mediumship. So many people ask me, what is my purpose in life? And I always tell them we have many things we've come to accomplish, but our main purpose is our soul's growth and evolution. We're here to grow. We're here to evolve as souls. And as we grow, we create those wonderful other things that we've come to do, and we make our world a better place. We create and grow using every part of us, every day, even when we don't realize it. There are 5 levels of our soul that are working to strengthen our being. We create with every part of us. So there are 5 ways that we feed our souls and help it to grow each and every day. The first level is that part of our soul that is connected to the physical experience, and it grows through our actions. Imagine if you were walking down the street and you saw someone laying in the street. Would you stop and help? You have to think about that, because a lot depends on what else is going on in your life, doesn't it? Jesus taught us that we should love our neighbor as ourselves. And when he was teaching the disciples that lesson, the disciples asked, well, who is our neighbor? Is our neighbor the person that lives next door? Is our neighbor the people of our village? Who is our neighbor that we need to take care of and love? And Jesus told them this story. There was a man lying in the street. He had been robbed and beaten and left for dead. And along came a priest rushing to get to the temple. And he saw the man laying on the road, but he didn't get too close. He thought, maybe he's sleeping it off, and he looks kind of disheveled. I have far too many important things to do. I'm in a hurry. So he continued on his way and didn't go and look at the man closely. Then a merchant came, and he was heading to town to sell his wares, and he saw the man lying across the road. But he didn't bother either. He noticed it was a stranger, not someone he knew. So he just left him, assuming that maybe he was sleeping it off or came upon some hard times, but he went about his way. And then a Samaritan came by. And as he saw the man lying in the street, he went immediately to him. And when he got close, he could see that he had been beaten and robbed. And so he lifted the man, and he took care of him. He brought him into town. He found a place for him to stay, where he found people to take care of him, to tend his wounds until he could get back on his feet. And he paid for the people in the town to take care of him. That Samaritan knew that everyone is our neighbor. That Samaritan knew that we're here to help one another. And by his action, his soul grew, because our soul grows by the actions that we take. We are in a very special time here. We are actually in a time that's a big shift for humanity. And we are being called to make choices that help others. We are being asked to take precautions, to wear a mask, not to protect ourselves, but to protect others. We are asked to self-quarantine, or to stay away and social distance, so that we can protect others. What we're really being asked is to no longer be selfish, but to create our actions thinking about the higher good of others. Because that's what this shift in evolution is all about. Letting go of our selfishness, thinking only of ourselves. And with every choice that we make, think about what is the higher good for the whole of humanity. And that's in everything we do every day, because we're all a part of each other. We're all connected. And as we take those actions, our soul grows, because we are moving out of ourselves and lifting ourselves to be of a higher vibration, thinking of others instead of ourselves. And yes, there are many still lost in that selfishness that are throwing away their masks and going out and meeting in large groups. And until they come along and realize what the lesson is and start to think of the higher good of all, this pandemic will continue, because it takes all of us to cooperate. So we are called right now to cooperate, to think of others before ourselves, and to learn to live that way, because that is how humanity needs to grow. We are participating in not only our own evolution, but we are participating in humanity's evolution by our choices. The second level of growth is through our emotions. How we share our love and our mercy. Are we forgiving? Are we understanding? We are all wired to be empathetic, and that's important. We need to be empathetic so that we can put ourselves in each other's shoes. And when we do that, we can understand where the other person is coming from. If someone has injured you or hurt your feelings, can you put yourself in their shoes to understand, so that your heart can open in compassion and forgiveness? Because when we can, we lift our vibration and our soul evolves. We evolve through our love, through our mercy, through our forgiveness. Jesus taught another story about the merciful master. And there was a wonderful man. He was the master, had many servants. And one of his servants owed him a lot of money. The servant came to him one day and begged him for more time, said, "Oh, it's really hard times. There's a pandemic. I can't raise enough money to pay you back." And the master, being loving and kind and just and empathetic, he put himself in that man's shoes and realized how hard it was for him to come up with the money he owed. So the master, being very merciful, forgave the debt. Now the master's soul grew from that action and from that emotion. But the servant, on his way home, bumped into someone who owed him money. And the man came up to him and said, "Please let me have more time. Times are tough. I can't pay you right now." But the servant, although he was given that great gift of mercy, didn't show the same mercy. Instead, he had the man beaten. He didn't learn from the experience that life brought him, from that wonderful gift the master gave him, the mercy. He didn't pay that forward, which is what we're really here to do. Learn from our experience and bring forward the positive experiences we have. So understanding natural law as we do, we know that the next time that servant needed mercy, he wouldn't get it, because what goes around comes around. And his soul did not grow from that experience. So every opportunity that comes our way, we have an opportunity to grow, to allow our soul to evolve, or to take a step backwards in our evolution. So we learn from the master in his just and wonderful ways of mercy that that is the better road to follow. You know, we are wired to be empathetic. We're all empathetic beings. But some people will come to me and say, "Oh, I'm an empath. I take on all of the pain of the world and I don't know what to do with that." Well, we're not meant to take on the pain as our own. We're meant to be able to use that empathetic ability to put ourselves in the other's shoes so that we can rise above and see a way in which we can help. a way in which we can stand by in support of another being, which brings us to the third level of growth, and that is the intellect and the mind. It is our ability to contemplate and to detach from those emotions. Yes, we feel them, and then we rise and we detach to see the greater picture. We rise up into that higher mind as we did in our meditation. We have a lower mind and a higher mind, and that lower mind will always judge, will always assume, usually the worst, and it will keep us just seeing what's on the surface, but not seeing the greater picture, not understanding what's really happening underneath. So a higher mind connects us to that place where we can see what's really happening. I'll give you an example. There was once a little girl who was with her mother, and she had 2 apples. And the mother said to the little girl, "Can I have one of your apples?" Knowing her little girl was so sweet that of course she'd share. But the little girl hesitated. And she looked at the apples for a long time, and the mother got nervous. And the mother was thinking, what happened? My little girl is selfish. She is assuming from her actions. And then the little girl took a bite out of each apple, and the mother was horrified. Oh my goodness, my little girl is not going to share her apple with me. And then the little girl handed her one, and she said, "Take this one, it's the sweetest one." So how often do we assume? Do we assume the worst, and we don't allow a situation to unfold so that we can see the whole picture? And that is what we need to do with everything. For there are blessings in everything. When we climb the mountain and we look at life through our spiritual eyes, through the eyes of God, when we bring our actions and our emotions and our intellect into that higher level of being, we can see the blessings that exist in every challenge. There's a blessing in everything that we're going through, but we have to have the eyes to see. We have to climb that mountain and really look through the eyes of God as a spiritual being, remembering who we are, and see the value in everything. I have one more quick story for you about seeing the value in everything. There was a village filled with these wonderful people, but they were really afraid of the dark. And they loved the light, and every day the sun rose, they would be out celebrating and singing songs of celebration, enjoying the light tremendously. But they hated the dark, and as soon as the sun set, they ran to their homes, and they never went out at night. They never went out in the dark. Well, one day, these twins were born. And the little girl, the twin, was the epitome of light. She was like the sunshine. But the little boy twin was very somber and dark. And so the village grew to be afraid of the little boy, but they loved the little girl. Every time as they grew, the little girl came into a room, the room was filled with joy. And when the little boy came into the room, it would be somber and quiet. And so they continued to be afraid of the little boy, but they loved the little girl. And one day, the town came to her, the villagers, and they said to her, "We're really so afraid of the night. Can you ask the sun to stay in the sky and not allow night to come?" Well, the little girl didn't really want to do that, but after a long time of everyone asking her, finally she went. She stood on the mountain and she asked the sun, "Please stand still in the sky so night doesn't come." And the sun did. And so the villagers were thrilled because it was day all the time. And they were so excited and they were celebrating and living. But over a period of time, this went on for days and then weeks and then months, they became very tired because they had a really hard time sleeping when the light of the day. And things were different. And they needed, secretly, they all wanted the night to come back so that they could rest. But they wouldn't say anything because they all had asked the little girl to do this. And then finally they started to talk among themselves, and they realized that they all really wanted the night to come back. because they needed it in order to sleep and rest. So they went to the little girl and they asked the little girl to now ask the sun to move and allow the night to come back. So the little girl went up to the mountain and asked the sun to begin to move again so the night could return, but nothing happened. And all of the villagers were all upset now. They didn't know what to do. But the little boy stepped forward and he said, "Let me try." And the little boy opened his arms and asked the sun to move and allow the night to return. Well, immediately the sun set and the night came back. And as the night came back, the people became terrified. They had never been out in the dark before. And they were bumping into each other and they were moving all around trying to find where their homes were so they could go and hide from the night. But then one of them looked up and said, "Look." And they all looked up and they saw the beautiful stars shining in the night. And they felt the quiet and the peace of the night. And they began to love the night again. And they began to give thanks to the little boy and appreciate the little boy. And they began to appreciate light and dark, night and day, because everything works together. And so when we think about that story, we realize that sometimes we need to step out of what we're thinking, lift up higher, and get the greater picture to understand how things work together, where those blessings are, how those things come together and serve us in the best possible way. And if we don't face our fears and rise to the challenges of life, we will miss those blessings. And we will miss out on receiving the greatest part of life. When we lift up, when we raise our vibration, when we rise to seek the higher perspective, we come into that fifth level of soul, which is the unity with God, the oneness of being, where we are fully connected to our source and we allow that source to flow through us and from us. I see God like a huge ocean, the ocean of life, and we are like drops of that ocean. But we are so much a part of that ocean. And as we live in unity and in harmony with that sea of God, everything we say, everything we feel, everything we do will work for our soul to evolve and grow, but will work to create the highest and best for everyone. Because the divine will be expressing through us in all that we see, all that we say, all that we hear, all that we do. Every part of us will be an expression of God, like our principles teach us. We are all expressions of the infinite source of life, that God is a part of all of creation, permeates all existence. There is no part of creation that God is not. And when we understand that about ourselves, we can live fully and use all the tools we have to evolve as a soul so that we may be in unity and in harmony with the divine. So spiritualism teaches us all of this. Spiritualism is for the seeker. It teaches us to reach up, to attain a higher level of love. And we have the tools. We must learn to use them in order to grow and evolve as souls, which is what we're here for. So, as you move forward in this week and in this lifetime, make this world a better place through your choices. Feel empathy for others. Don't be hardened. Let kindness and mercy flow into every choice. Forgive easily, because when you make a mistake, don't you want to be forgiven? Meditate and seek the higher purpose beyond the surface. Reach up so that you can see the people and situations in your life with a higher perspective. Find the blessings in everything. And know that both spiritually and energetically, we truly are all one. We all exist in that body of God. We are all in this together. So let us love one another. And let us be the best we can be as we love our neighbor as ourselves. And please, let all of your choices be for the highest good of all, because humanity is counting on you. God bless you. And now we will have a musical selection by Branigan Reed, who will sing Climb Every Mountain. How appropriate. Thank you, Branigan and Ron, for that beautiful musical selection. And now it is time for spirit communication. I will be a medium again this week, and I'll be connecting to the spirit world and bringing you, hopefully, evidence, but especially their wisdom to uplift you. Know that every message that comes through from the world of spirit is universal, and they work to bring the wisdom to everyone so that we are all benefited by their presence. There may be some part of the message that's personal to one person, but I have noticed in working this way it's a little bit different than I normally work, and they do come in groups. So if you recognize pieces of the information, please take it, because your loved one is present. And I know that they're all working to bring as many messages as they can, but especially to bring the wisdom to everyone. So Thank you for the emails that you've been sending. Please continue to let me know when you recognize individuals. I'd love to get your emails. So please don't hesitate to send in your comments or let me know what you've recognized. And now let's see who is with us from the world to spirit that wants to communicate. Okay, I have a woman who's coming in first, and I feel a very strong presence with her. I feel like she would have been very much a boss. She was the authoritarian in the family. She was the matriarch. So I feel like as she comes in as the matriarch, that people needed her permission to do whatever it was they wanted in life. She's given me the sense that she's back a few generations because I feel like she would have been the person that would have come from the old country to this one. And she was the adventurous spirit and the adventurous soul. And it's interesting as I say that because I have 3 or 4 women who would have been the adventurous souls that came from the old country. I have an Irish woman with me and I have an Italian woman with me. So I feel like they're coming in to represent the grandmothers that came to start a new life in this country. And I want to stick with this first woman who came from Ireland because she's got an Irish brogue as she speaks, and I feel like she's got this real glint in her eye, and she had a lot of joy in her, but she would put forth a presence of being strict and stern. So the kids were a little afraid of her because they had to toe the line. But underneath that, she was very loving and very joyful. I feel like she's bringing me an Irish bread. I can taste the caraway seeds. So I feel like she would have made Irish bread, and every family got one at St. Patrick's Day because she would make these breads, and those would be gifts she would give. I feel like all of her children were married and they had their own families, and everyone would gather at her house on Sundays and on holidays, and she would cook all the time. I feel like this woman never stopped cooking. She was always making something, and I feel the Italian grandmother the same way, the big pot of sauce on the stove. So I feel like they're both coming in to connect to their loved ones, but also to talk to everyone about the adventurous spirit that they needed to have. I feel like each woman that I have with me would have lost their partner very early on in life and were left to be the provider of their family and were left to take charge, because it's the experiences of life that brought them a strength that they developed. And they're both saying that when they were young and when they first came to this country, they weren't as strong as their family knew them to be, because it was the experience of life that helped them to develop that strength and that fortitude. And they're both coming in with strength and fortitude to remind everyone that everything that you're going through right now is building something in you. And you need to take what you're learning from it and turn it into something positive and wonderful. They each turned their lives into something wonderful. They had big families, and everyone in the family adored them. And they adored them because of their strength, because of what they gave, because of the love that they shared. So allow life's experiences. Sometimes they can break you. Sometimes they can knock you down. But don't let them, because you need to have that spirit that lifts you up, that helps you to take the lemons and make lemonades. And they're saying you have to take the best from life and move forward and take everything that life brings you and make something good out of it, because that's what they did and that's what they want you to do. So I'm going to leave you with the 11 blessings. Hopefully you're recognizing this wonderful Irish grandmother and this beautiful Italian grandmother. They were all about the food and nurturing and supporting, and they were all about loving their families. But they both stood strong and authoritative and were the matriarchs of the family. And they knew how to take the bad in life and to turn it into something good. And they're here to support and help everyone to do just that. So I leave you with their blessings and their love, and thank them for coming through. Okay, I have a gentleman who comes in, and I feel like I'm coughing with him, so I feel like he would have been a smoker, and I feel like he had some physical issues because of that. He keeps bringing me that cigarette, so I keep feeling like he smoked too long in his life, and he really did damage, because the cough and the trouble breathing is all part of his passing. As he's coming in, I feel that he would have been a robust man at one time in his life, but because of, I believe he passed from lung cancer, he became very narrow and small. I feel like he shrinked in his old age, but more because of the illness. So I feel like the illness really depleted him, and he got very small in his stature. But I feel like he wants to go back in time for when he was robust. And he's talking about he was a father and he was a good provider. I feel like he would have gone out to work every day. He would have brought the check home and he would have given it to his wife, because I feel like that's what you did. He would work hard, he would bring the money home, and the wife would pay everything, all the bills. So I feel like he was very responsible in that way, and he worked really hard. I feel like sometimes he'd go and have a beer with the guys, but normally he was a real family man and would just come home and do the family thing, he'd say. He'd play games with his kids, he'd watch TV with them, and he was just a really nice soul. I don't feel like he did that much outside of the home other than working. I feel like he's going to work and coming home every day, and his life revolved around his family. He was a real family man. I'm seeing 4 children with him. So I feel like he really loved his children. I'm seeing him outside teaching someone how to ride the bike. And these are his most happy memories, or the memories that he had with his kids and the things that he did. I keep hearing that bike bell, so I feel like maybe it was the daughter that had the bell and the streamers off the bell. But the memories of joy and happiness, and him being able to teach his children when they were young the little things in life. But he wants his family to know that his whole life revolved around them, that he didn't get involved in too many things outside the home. He was more focused on providing, working hard, and being with his family. And that was the most important thing. And I feel like he's coming in and he's talking about choices. And he's saying the smoking was not a good choice. He said, although in my generation that's what we did and we didn't know any better. He said, but you guys do. And he's talking to his kids and saying, there's at least one of them that's still smoking. And he wants that butt to get tossed and get rid of those cigarettes, because it's not a good choice and it won't create health. And he doesn't want you to go through what he had to go through, because I feel like he suffered greatly in his passing, and he doesn't want that for his kids or his grandkids. So he's talking about make healthy choices, get rid of those cigarettes, but he also is talking about the importance of family, that he never regretted for a minute that he didn't get out there and play. He came home. And he had many opportunities that he could have gone out every night after work with the guys. But he always chose to come home and be with his family, because his family meant so much to him. And he's saying there's nothing like spending time with your family. And you might be having a little bit too much family time right now, but he's saying cherish it, because when those moments of family time are gone, boy, do you miss them. And I feel like he had such sadness missing the family time and the fun and the joy. And he's saying cherish every moment. They won't last forever. And he would give anything to be physically present, to have some real family time right now. So he's just here to tell everybody, cherish your family time. Get together. Be there for each other. Love one another. Celebrate the happy moments, because they're fleeting and life is short. Even though I feel like he lived to be a good number, maybe into his late 60s or 70s, well, that's young, because that's my age. So I feel like he could have lived much longer than he did, but he did have a full life, he's saying, and he's saying celebrate life and enjoy every moment, and he's kidding me. So I know that he had a really good sense of humor, and I'm going to leave you with his blessings and his love. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, let's see who else is here. Okay, I have a grandfather's presence coming in. I feel like he's got not a lot of hair. He's rather short, not too tall, little roundish. And I feel like he would have had some problems with his knees as he got older. He's showing me himself old. So I feel like, you know, he had difficulty walking. I don't see a cane, but I do feel a walker at some point. I feel like he needed assistance in walking. And I feel like he was a real robust guy in his younger years. But he's just coming in the older years, because that's when he wants to connect to his grandchildren, because his grandchildren know him as older rather than younger. I do feel like in his younger days he was a sailor, because he's showing me ships. He was on big ships. So I don't know whether he was in the Navy, but he was on ships. And he would have worked on the ships. I feel like he's in the engine room. I feel like he knows machinery. And as he worked in the physical world, past that, he worked with machinery. Because he keeps bringing me his hands with grease on his hands. So I'm feeling like you would know that about him. He would have, you know, he had a dirty job, he's telling me, because I'm seeing him shoveling coal as well into furnaces. So he's taking me back to the time where you had to put coal in the furnaces to keep them going. And he worked really hard that way. And, you know, he'd get really dirty, and the dirt under his fingernails, he's saying, never really came clean. But he's bringing me back to the time when he was older, after the work part of his life was over, and he's talking about sharing time with his grandchildren and being present with them. And I feel like there's not a lot of interaction, but I feel like he's present. He's in the room with them, and he's interacting with them in small ways, because I do feel like he was more infirmed as the grandchildren were around him. So I feel like he's been in the spirit world for quite some time, but I feel like he's coming in to say, be present in your life. I feel like he had to be very present in his job. When he was working with the machinery, he couldn't just float off. He had to be present, or he'd cut off a finger. I feel like he had to be present in all of the types of jobs that he did, because it would have been dangerous if he wasn't focused and didn't pay attention. So I feel like he's coming in to remind people to pay attention, to focus, to, you know, if you're going to do something, do it well. Focus, be there, be present. Don't be thinking about what you're going to eat for supper. Think about what you're doing now. And so he's coming in with this real narrow focus, and he's talking about being present with his grandkids. And he's also saying, you know, be present with the people that are in your lives. The people in your lives are so important. And so often you're talking to one another and you're off thinking about something completely different and you miss the whole conversation. And because you don't focus and you don't allow yourself to be present. So I feel like he's coming in and he's interesting because he's saying be very present, because I feel like when he was older he had some senility and wasn't really present. And he's saying, I miss that presence. He's showing me himself present but not. And he's saying, you have the ability to be present. You have the ability to train your mind to focus. So focus and be present with the people, because it's really difficult to not be a part of each other's lives. And if you don't focus, if you don't listen to one another, you don't really know what's going on with them. And you have to listen to the underneath of what's going on, not just the surface. So I feel like, it's funny, he has a hearing aid, and he's talking about the importance of listening. And he's saying he missed a lot. He didn't get every word. He missed a lot of words. But he's saying it's important for you, if you have the ability to hear, you have the ability to listen. And it's not, what people are saying is a lot, usually so much more than what they're saying in words. And when you're present with someone, you can understand what's happening underneath. So be present and listen deeply when someone comes to you and tells you something. Listen for the underneath. What are they really needing from you so that you can be of help? Because they'll say it on the surface and they don't always get to the meat of what they need. So by listening deeply, you can figure out what it is they want, and then just repeat that back to them so that they understand, yeah, that is what I need from you. That is what I want. So he's coming in to uplift and to help everyone to listen deeply, to look for what's under the surface, and to be present in every moment, because life is precious. And he learned that life is precious. Being present in your mind is precious. Don't take that for granted. And I leave you with his love and blessings. And just as I close, I have a little lady that comes in who would have been a shopper. She comes in so cute. She's got her little shopping bag over her arm. And she would have always shopped. She would have loved to have gone out to the stores and poked around. And I'm seeing her in the 5 and 10 and, the old stores. She's bringing me these old, when Jordan Marsh and Filene's are in downtown Boston. Because she's in downtown and she's taking the tea into downtown and she's shopping in all these stores. And she always had a bag and she always got bargains. And I feel like this woman was a mother and she's an aunt and, she has a lot of people in her family. But she never missed a day of shopping. That's like her signature. I shopped all the time and I always found the bargains. And she's sweet as pie and really cute. She's a little bitty of a thing. And she's very neat and tidy. And she always looked immaculate. And she always looked beautiful because she got all these great bargains at Filene's Basement. But she liked the good things, so she waited. And she would go in and hunt, and she would maybe bring one thing home at a time because she would wait for those markdowns. So she was a very smart shopper, and she was known for that. That's why she's bringing it to me. But I'm asking, what is her wisdom in all of this? And she says, sometimes you have to wait. You have to be patient. As a shopper, I was very patient. I could see what I wanted, but I wouldn't grab it because I know it'll be there later and I'll get a better price. But she's saying, I developed patience that way. And if I wanted something in life, I would wait for it. And she's saying, you need to have patience right now. I know times are tough with all of this COVID and this social distancing and all the choices we have to make. I know that life is tough, but have patience because it will pass. everything passes. If you wait long enough, things get better. So it wasn't just the bargains that she waited for. If she wasn't happy in life, then she waited and she watched and she paid close attention and she noticed when things shifted and changed. And she says you have to pay attention in life, but be patient because life will always bring you what you need. And she said, my whole life, I always got what I needed and I never wanted for anything. Yes, I waited. Yes, I hunted for my bargains, but I always got what I needed because life always brought me treasures. And my biggest treasures were my children. And I feel like she would have had 3 children. And she loved them to pieces. And she said, have patience. Things will shift and change again. Just wait it out. And I feel like it's important. She wants to get through to those kids to know, and her grandkids, wait it out. Things will get better. Have patience like she did. And I leave you with her love and many, many blessings. And unfortunately, we're out of time. But know that tomorrow we have a Zoom gathering, and I have, I think, 4 or 5 mediums that are going to be present doing messages. And so please join us. The email will go out with the link, and it will be on Facebook as well, so that you can join us on our Zoom gathering Monday night at 7 p.m. And our services will continue on Sundays on YouTube. And we ask you to please visit our website to make a donation. We can't pass the basket as we normally do, but we do accept donations on our website. So please, here's our website on the screen. If you could click on that and make a donation, we appreciate it. It keeps our church going. And know that we'll be there when the day does come that we can open safely. I know many churches, some churches are opening, but we are trying to make the best decisions, the board and myself, so that everyone can stay healthy and strong. And since we don't own our building, we don't have charge over the cleaning and the ways in which we can keep you safe. So for now, we'll continue on YouTube, and we'll keep you posted through our emails. If you want to check out our website for any updates and sign up for our email list, because those go out every week to keep you updated on what's going on. Also, if you have any questions, as well, I'm doing these YouTube services, I would love to hear if you have any questions, and maybe some week I'll do a Q&A for a sermon because I'd like to know what you want to hear. So please send your emails to me. You can go through the website. My email is on there. My email can appear down here, and you can email me and let me know what you want to learn about, what you want to hear, if you have any questions. And I'll be happy to do a Q&A with Reverend Mary. I know some people have asked to do that, so I'm open to hear your questions. And I look forward to continuing to serve you. And I thank you for joining us on our Zoom services. So let's close with a closing prayer. Infinite Spirit, beloved God, we thank you for your presence within us and around us. Help us to remember who we are. Help us to climb that mountain, to always seek a higher perspective, to use every tool we have within us so that our soul may evolve and become one with you. Help us to make the right choices that are for the highest good of all, so that we may all evolve together and make our world a better place. Thank you for your presence within us and around us as we say amen. And thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful week. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.